Stay safely at home. So I'm starting the next chapter, friction. Now what is friction? All of you know what is friction. Friction is an opposing force which comes into play when two bodies, means one body, tends to move over other body, or actually one body is moving over the other body. Then the opposing force comes into play or arises, is known as the friction. Alright. Now what is the cause of friction? Now, cause of friction, there is an old theory, that is the classical theory. According to that theory, we consider that irregularities or roughness of a surface is the cause of friction. Means if you consider two surfaces in contact, alright. Now, there are irregularities in both the surfaces, okay. Now, what is happening? Just you consider this. If you consider my this fingers, I hope you can see. You see here there are irregularities like this. So, when I am keeping one surface over the other and we are trying to move over the other, means you are just trying to move over the other. Then what happened? Interlocking of irregularities takes place. Alright. So, if you want to move one body over the other, then what you have to do, this interlocking, you have to apply a force to break the interlocking of the surfaces. Alright. So that is the cause of friction. So that is the classical theory. Alright. So according to this theory, if the roughness of a surface or irregularities present in a surface is the cause of friction, then it should happen that the force of friction, magnitude of friction should depend on area of contact. Alright, but experimentally it has been found that magnitude of force of friction does not depend on area of contact. According to classical theory, it should depend on area of contact, but experimentally it has been found that force of friction does not depend on area of contact. This is the first point. Second point, according to the classical theory, if you consider there are two very smooth surfaces, means you have taken very smooth, both the surfaces are very smooth to each other. Then according to the classical theory, as there is no irregularity, there are no irregularities in both the surfaces, so friction should be zero or friction should be less. But it has been found experimentally that when both the surfaces are very smooth, then the friction between them increases. So, classical theory failed to explain these 2 points, that force of friction does not depend on area of contact, and when the two surfaces are very smooth, then also when we try to move one body over the other, the force of friction increases. Okay, so that's why this classical theory no longer considered nowadays. There is another theory which is known as the modern theory of force of friction. Alright, now according to the modern theory of force arises due to strong intermolecular force at the points of actual contact. Just you see, in the two surfaces there are irregularities, it is true, but when the two surfaces you are keeping one over the other, then there are some points where the two surfaces touch each other. These are the actual point of contacts. I hope you are understanding. This is one point of contact, this is one point of contact. These are all point of contacts. Now, at this point of contacts, what is happening? The molecules of the two surfaces are coming very close to each other. That's why strong intermolecular force acts at these points of contact, alright, due to which these point of contact, they act as a cold welded point. This is known as cold welding, as if these points are welded together. Okay, so what is happening due to small adhesive forces between the molecules present at the actual point of contact, this actual point of contact acts as a cold welded point. Alright, so if you want to move one body over the other, then you have to break this cold welded point, and then only one object will move over the other. So this is the cause of friction. So according to modern theory, what is the cause of friction? The cause of friction is the strong intermolecular attraction at the actual points of contact is the cause of force of friction. And according to this, you see, it is at the actual point of contact the intermolecular force is stronger. So you see what is happening. It does not depend, force of friction does not depend, according to this theory, on the area of contact of the two bodies. Alright, and according to this theory also, the second point which classical theory failed to explain means when the two surfaces are very smooth, then also if you want to slide one over the other, then also frictional force increases. So you see, according to modern theory, what is happening when the two surfaces are very smooth, then also the all the molecules, means molecules of both the surfaces, when you are keeping one over the other, coming very close to each other. So again, what is happening? A strong intermolecular force of attraction acts at all the point of contacts, which increases the force of friction. So you see here, although the surfaces are smooth, but still the force of friction increases. So modern theory means able to explain the experimental facts also. So nowadays we considered what is the cause of friction. Once again I am repeating, that is the strong intermolecular force of attraction acting at the actual point of contacts when one body is kept over the body or one body tends to move over the other body is the cause of friction. Now frictional force is a self-adjusting force. Alright, you can understand it from this very simple experiment. Suppose you have kept one object of mass m. So you see the weight of the body mg is acting in the downward direction. So normal reaction is acting in the upward direction. These two are balancing each other. So the body neither moving up nor coming down. Okay. Now the body is tied up with a string, and from the string a scale pan is suspended. Now suppose you have kept here a very small weight. Alright. Now the weight may be very small. So due to this, what will happen? A tension will act here. So here for the block, the tension in the string will act in this direction. Alright. So you see this tension in the string is trying to pull the body in this direction. Alright. Now what will happen? The moment the body will try to move over the surface, a frictional force will act opposite to the motion. Alright. Now in this particular case, what is happening? Just understand it. I have kept a very small object here. Alright. So you will observe that when you are keeping a small weight here, then the body is not moving. So how you can explain that why the body is not moving? You can explain, I hope you can understand the free body diagram. So if you apply the concept of the free body diagram, what you can say, that frictional force is equal to the tension in the string. Frictional force is balanced by the tension in the string, so it is not moving. Alright. Now what you have done, you have increased the weight kept here. Then also you will observe that the body is not moving. What does it mean? When you have increased the weight here, tension will increase because this tension is equal to the weight kept on the scale pan. So what is happening? You see, tension has increased, and again friction has also increased its value and balancing the tension and not the body is not moving. So this is the way you just go on increasing the weight. Then one time will come, the body will, so you see the body until and unless it starts moving over the surface, the frictional force adjusting its value, and every time it is making itself equal to the tension in the string, and as a result the body is not moving on the surface. Understood? So frictional force is a self-adjusting force. Alright? Now, if you consider this way that you are going on increasing the weight kept on the scale pan, then one time will come, what happened to the body will tends to move. Okay, the body will tends to move over the surface. In that case, the frictional force, that will be the maximum value of the frictional force. The frictional force acting on the body will be the maximum value of the friction. Alright. So this maximum frictional force act on a body when a body tends to slide over other body is known as limiting friction. What is the name? This is known as limiting friction. So what is limiting friction? Once again I am repeating, the maximum value of the frictional force for which the body tends to move. It is not started yet, but it just trying to move over the surface, that is known as the limiting friction, or that is also known as limiting value of the friction. And remember here, when I am talking about this friction, this is known as the static friction. Why? Because the body is at rest on the body, so it is also known as the limiting value of the static friction. Now, whenever we are considering the limiting friction, then it obeys certain laws. What are the laws? That the value of the limiting static friction, okay, it depends on the nature of the surfaces in contact. It depends on the smoothness or roughness of the surfaces in contact, but it does not depend on the size and area of contact of two surfaces. This is the first law of limiting friction. Second law of limiting friction states that the frictional force acts always opposite to the direction in which the body tends to move. And third law states that frictional force is directly proportional to normal reaction acting on the body. So you see, just you consider this diagram. If you keep one object here, then if it tends to move along this direction, frictional force acts along the tangent drawn to the surface of contact. So when you are considering the body's weight mg is acting in the downward direction. So you see, you can write normal reaction R is acting in the upward direction. So you can write Fs is directly proportional to R. Alright, so you can write Fs is equal to mu s into R, some constant into R. You know that constant of proportionality you have to introduce here. So here mu s is the constant of proportionality, and what is its name? It is the coefficient of static friction or coefficient of limiting static friction. Both way you can say. You can drop the term limiting also, you can say coefficient of static friction. Alright. Now remember, R is equal to M into G. Alright. So when the body tends to move, then it is equal. But when it is, if you consider the frictional force, then okay, here I was standing in front of the board, so that time it was not visible. Now it is visible. So all the three laws you must note down in the copy and you must learn it. So you see, in this case, when it will be Fs is equal to mu s into R, when the body tends to move over it. Okay, but before that, Fs is less than mu s R. It is because when I means explained that frictional force is a self-adjusting force, then you have seen that until and unless it tends to move, then frictional force just slowly increasing its value, and every time it is making it equal to the tension in the string. Then ultimately when it tends to move, then the frictional force, the value of the frictional force, it becomes maximum. So you see, this case when it tends to move, and this one is satisfied when it is not trying to move over the surface, then means when it is adjusting its value. So one can write that frictional force is less than equal to mu s into r. This part one you should remember, okay. And what is mu s? Mu s is the coefficient of static friction. Alright, so you see, coefficient of static friction, it depends on the normal reaction. It is the ratio of Fs to R. Coefficient of static friction is ratio of Fs to R. Remember that when the normal reaction increases, Fs also increases. So coefficient of friction does not depend on Fs, does not depend on R. Coefficient of friction, it is the characteristics of the nature of the two surfaces in contact. Alright, so it does not depend, mu s neither depend on Fs nor depend on R. Okay, it depends on the ratio. So what conclusion you can draw? Mu s is the characteristics of the two surfaces which are in contact. Alright, so these are all about the frictional force when the body is at rest or tends to move. So we are talking about the static frictional force. Then next one is sliding friction or kinetic friction. Next topic is sliding friction or the kinetic friction. So you see, according to the modern theory, just try to understand that when the two bodies you are keeping one over the other, then what is happening, that at this point of contact, strong molecular force acting, due to that frictional force arises. So what you are doing, you are applying the force, increasing the force over the body so that you can break all the cold welded point. So once all the cold welded point broken, then the body will start moving over the other. Alright, so you see, to break all the cold welded point, you need to apply the maximum static friction or limiting friction. Alright, so before that, when you are increasing the applied force slowly, frictional force also increasing, and at the limiting static friction, it will tends to move. After that, what is happening? When it will start moving over the body, then you see these cold welded points are broken. Okay, and it has already started sliding over the body. Then what will happen? Again, new point of contact will arise, isn't it? So at that new point of contact, again molecular force will act, but in this case what will happen, as already the body is in motion, that it will not be able to act, means the force acting between the points, it will not be able to increase. Is that clear? So what is happening, that frictional force, it will be little, when the body is moving over the other body, then the frictional force will be less than the limiting static friction. Alright, and the frictional force that comes into play when the two bodies, when one body is moving over the other body, that is known as the kinetic friction or sliding friction. From the name only you can make out kinetic friction. What does it mean? That one body is moving over the other. So the frictional force that comes into play when one body moves over the other body or one body slides over the other body, then that is known as the kinetic friction. Now what are the laws of kinetic friction? Almost same like the static friction only, that kinetic friction, the force of kinetic friction does not depend on area of contact Alright, the force of kinetic friction is almost constant, second law, and it always acts opposite to the direction of motion, and force of kinetic friction is directly proportional to the normal reaction. So force of kinetic friction, we write it as Fk. Okay, Fs is the limiting value of static friction and Fk is the kinetic friction. So Fk is also proportional to R. So Fk is equal to mu kr. Here remember this mu k, this is the coefficient of kinetic friction, alright, which depends, coefficient of kinetic friction also depends on the nature of the two surfaces in contact. So in this case you see mu k is equal to Fkr, and remember that mu k is always less than mu s. If mu k is less than mu s, and that's why Fs is greater than Fk and Fk is less than Fs. Alright, so you must remember that limiting value of static friction is the maximum value, and after that when the body originally starts moving over the other, then the frictional force, it decreases and become constant. Now if you plot frictional force versus applied force, alright, then you see what will be the nature of the graph. Understand it. Just remember, try to recall the experiment I explained, that the scale pan is there, one object is there tied to a string, that one. So you see applied force, you are increasing from 0, frictional force is also increasing, alright. Then what will happen, it will, so you see what is the nature of the graph, it will be a straight line passing through the origin. You are slowly increasing the applied force and frictional force also increasing. Frictional force is the self-adjusting force and the body is not moving, body is static, and then at this point you see the frictional force is maximum, and at this point the body tends to slide. This point, suppose I am naming it as A. At the point A, what will happen? The body tends to slide over the surface or over the other body. So this frictional force is this is the limiting friction. Alright, what is this? This is the limiting frictional force, limiting value of static friction. Alright, so limiting Fs I am writing, limiting or maximum value of static friction. So you see at the point A, what is happening? The force you have applied, what it has done? It has broken all the cold welded point. Alright, so once the cold welded point is broken, then the body will try to move, body will start moving over the other. So you see what is happening, the applied force, you see the applied force when you are increasing, the frictional force is decreasing first and then it is becoming constant when the body starts moving over the other surface. So you see this point, this is the kinetic friction, this portion is the kinetic friction, and kinetic friction as already stated in the second law that it is become almost constant, and what is its value? Kinetic friction mu k into r. Alright, means this point if you consider, alright, you see it is below Fs. Where this point is coming, okay, I should use the scale, then you will understand better. You see look at it, Fk is below Fs, means what? The frictional force, kinetic friction is less than the limiting value of static friction. Alright, and what will be, so you see from this 2 point between this O and A, this portion represent the static friction, the body is at rest, and this portion represent the kinetic friction, means the body is in motion over the other surface. Alright, so this is the way you will get the graph when you plot frictional force versus the applied force graph. This will be the nature of the frictional force versus applied force graph. Now coming the concept of angle of friction. Now if you consider that you have kept a body and it is in the state of limiting friction, which just tends to slide over the body. So you see what are the line of action? This is the action, you know that frictional force acts along the tangent drawn to the surface of contact. So you see frictional force is acting in this direction. The weight of the body is acting at its center of gravity. Normal reaction is acting there. And here you have applied the force in such a manner that it tends to slide. Means it is in the case of limiting friction. Now you see, I can draw this Fs here. I have drawn a line parallel to Fs. Okay. So you see, this is representing Fs only. This is representing, if I name the diagram as suppose A, B, C, D like this, then you see along AD the normal reaction acting. If I draw AB along Fs, means Fs along AB, then you see if I complete the parallelogram or the rectangle here, then R dash means AC is the resultant of Fs and R. And R dash means the resultant of Fs and R, making an angle theta with the normal reaction. So this angle theta is known as the angle of friction. Alright. So what is angle of friction? In the state of limiting friction, the angle which the resultant R dash of Fs and R makes with R is known as the angle of friction. Just understand from the diagram, R dash is what? Resultant of Fs and R. So R dash making an angle theta with R, this theta is known as the angle of friction. Alright, so you see from this diagram it is clear that if you just look at this diagram, tan theta. Okay, tan theta if I write from the diagram, tan theta is in, perpendicular upon base. So tan theta you can write it as CD divided by AD. Alright, now CD is what? Fs. And AD is what? R. Look at the diagram, CD. It is parallel to AB. So CD, AB is Fs. So CD also Fs. So you can write Fs by R. Again you know Fs is equal to mu s into R. So R getting cancelled. So you see angle of friction is always tan inverse mu s. Okay, or one can remember this way also, tan theta is equal to mu s. Anyway, you remember, but these two relations are very important, and the concept of angle of friction also. Okay, so I repeat again, what is angle of friction? Angle made by the resultant of Fs and R with R is known as the angle of friction. And angle of friction, how it is related with the coefficient of static friction? Tangent of angle of friction is equal to coefficient of static friction. Next important concept, another very important concept of this chapter is angle of repose. Just try to understand it. Now suppose you have one inclined plane. Just you consider the scale. I hope it is visible. Now you see this is the inclination of the scale. Now if you keep one object over here, if you just keep one object over here, then you see when the angle of inclination is less, then the body is not moving at all. Now you do slowly you increase the angle of inclination. Then you see for one angle what will happen, the body will tend to slide over the inclined plane. I hope you have understood what I said. For one angle of inclination, the body will tend to slide, okay, over the surface. So that angle of inclination for which a body tends to slide over the inclined plane is known as the angle of repose. So if I consider that theta is the angle of repose here, then you see at this moment it is in the limiting friction. So what is happening? What is the frictional force? The body tends to slide in the downward direction. So what will happen? The limiting value of static friction will act in the upward direction. Now what are the other forces acting? mg is acting vertically downward. Now if you consider this angle is theta, then this angle will also be theta from the geometry of the diagram. So you can break mg into two components, one perpendicular to the inclined plane. So if this angle is theta, what will be the component of mg along this line? It will be mg cos theta. Then what will be the component of mg perpendicular to this one? Means it is parallel to the inclined plane along this one. If this angle is theta, it will become mg sin theta. Alright. And another force, that is normal reaction provided by the inclined plane over which the body is kept. Will apply the normal reaction. Alright. Now, as the body is in the state of limiting friction, so it tends to slide, but it is not sliding. So what are the equations you are getting if you consider the free body diagram? R is balanced by mg cos theta. Is that clear? And you see the body tends to slide, but body is not sliding. So mg sin theta and fs, they are equal, means fs is equal to mg sin theta. Alright. Now if you divide fs and r, what are you getting? You are getting in on this side mg sin theta, fs is mg sin theta and r is mg cos theta. So mg cancel, you are getting tan theta. Alright. Again, you know fs is equal to mu s into r. So mu s by r is equal to tan theta. Mu s r by r is tan theta. So r cancel. So once again you are getting tan theta is equal to mu s. But what is this theta? Remember, this theta is not the angle of friction. This is angle of repose. So for angle of repose also we are getting the same relation, that tangent of angle of friction, tangent of angle of repose is equal to mu s, and tangent of angle of friction also mu s. So here you must remember this theta is known as angle of repose. So how you can define angle of repose? Angle of repose is the maximum inclination, maximum angle of inclination for which a body kept over the inclined plane tends to slide over the inclined plane. Alright. So, and this is the relation you also have to remember for solving the numericals, that tangent of angle of repose is equal to coefficient of static friction. So, we have got the similar kind of relation, that tangent of angle of friction is also mu s and tangent of angle of repose is also mu s.